Starting work for your employer. These are some of the most important things to do when you start working in Canada. Number 1. Give a copy of your work permit to your employer. Important. Your employer has no right to demand that you give them your passport and your original work permit. If they ask for a copy of those documents, you can certainly provide them with copies, but they should not ask to safekeep original documents. Also, you should know that your employer cannot send you back to your own country, as some bad employers have threatened foreign workers in the past. In the next video, I will tell you more about your rights and responsibilities as a foreign worker. You cannot be forced to work for your employer. You can quit your employment at any time. You can stay in Canada for the duration of validity of your work permit, regardless whether you work for your employer or not. You are not allowed to work for another Canadian employer or work as a self-employed person without proper authorization, which usually means your new employer will have to apply for a new LMIA for you. Your employer, on the other hand, can fire you as they can fire any other Canadian employee. Number 2. Give your social insurance number to your employer. Social insurance number, often called SIN, is a number assigned to all Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and temporary residents who are allowed to work in Canada, such as temporary foreign workers. This number is used for tax purposes. All your income from all sources will be recorded and processed under your SIN number. Keep your SIN number confidential. Go to the nearest Service Canada office as soon as you arrive in Canada and apply for your social insurance number. For that, you will need your passport and your work permit. Your employer will report all your income to Canada Revenue Agency by sending them your income information linked to your SIN number. Number 3. Give a direct deposit form to your employer. Most likely, you will be paid by so-called direct deposit, which means every 2 weeks your employer's accounting department will electronically deposit your salary into your bank account. At the same time, you will receive notice of deposit, also called the paycheck. Even though the actual check won't be attached to it, you will only see the amount deposited, how much was deducted for tax, CPP, and employment insurance, how many hours you worked during those 2 weeks, etc. Keep all your paychecks. You will need them when you apply for permanent resident status in Canada. At your Canadian bank, you can ask for a direct deposit letter, or you can give your employer a so-called voided check, which is a blank check which is invalidated by writing void on it. However, employer can still see your account number, transit number, and bank number. Number 4. Employer will make contributions for CPP, employment insurance, tax. Canadian employers are obligated to make certain deductions from their employees' paychecks. Those are tax deductions, pension deductions or CPP, and employment insurance deductions. At the end of the year, your Canadian employer will give you a slip, which is called T4 slip, which indicates how much you earned by working for your employer and how much was deducted from your paychecks during the course of one calendar year. You will be expected to file your tax return by the end of April the following year. If you did not have any other income during the taxation year, you will most likely get a small refund because your employer has already sent your tax deductions to Canada Revenue Agency during the year. It is important that you file your income tax return every year, not only that you will need your tax information when you decide to apply for permanent resident status in Canada, but also you may qualify for certain types of tax refunds, such as GST tax refund. If your children are with you in Canada, you won't be able to apply for child tax benefits without filing your tax return first. As mentioned earlier, your employer will send your income information to Canada Revenue Agency so they will know all the details of your income and some deductions from that income even before you file your income tax return. Number 5. Workers' compensation. Injuries at work do not happen often, but they happen frequently enough so that Canadian employers have an obligation to register their employees with provincial agencies called Workers' Compensation Board, or WCB. In some provinces they have different names, but they do the same thing. Links to the WCB websites can be found in the accompanying PDF file. You can think of WCB as a work-related injury insurance program. Employers pay insurance contributions so that in case of work-related injury, their employees can get financial compensation. If you get injured at work and for that reason you are not able to continue working, you may open a claim with the Worker Compensation Board in your province. You may qualify for WCB financial assistance for the time you are not able to work. Also, they can cover some of the medical costs incurred as a direct consequence of your work injury. This is very important, especially if you are working in certain industries, such as construction. Sometimes employers forget to register their workers with WCB to avoid paying WCB insurance premiums, which can be several $1,000s. Should you check with your employer whether they registered you with WCB? It's up to you. If they do not do that, you may get into financial trouble in case of serious work injury. Number 6. Orientation and health and safety procedures. New employees in Canadian workplace are provided with orientation, which is sometimes called an induction or onboarding. Orientation is the process of introducing new workers to the workplace, wider organization, their supervisors, co-workers, and especially to health and safety. Orientation is usually done on the first day of work. Employers usually follow an orientation checklist such as this one. Topics such as occupational health and safety rights, company safety rules, company policies are addressed during this process. Website address of this page can be found in the PDF file which you downloaded along with your videos. Number 6. Punctuality, overtime work. No employer likes employees who are late for work or who leave work early. That includes Canadian employers. Come to work as early as necessary so that you are ready to start your work at least 15 minutes before the scheduled time. This means if your work officially starts at 9 a.m., make sure you are at your desk or at the construction site in full gear at 8:45 or earlier than that. Many employers ask employees to do overtime work. Many do not ask, but expect that from their employees. According to the provincial labor laws, employers have to pay overtime wage every time you work more than the prescribed amount of hours. Sometimes employers forget to pay higher overtime wage. Should you make a big deal of that? It is hard to answer that question because chances are you will have to apply for permanent resident status later on, or maybe you will want to extend your work permit. For that, you will need active participation of your employer in the process. It is in your best interest to maintain a good relationship with your employer. However, that does not mean that you have to tolerate abuse of any kind. Most Canadian employers are good and responsible people. However, in every barrel there is one or two rotten apples. Number 7. Bringing food to work. Canadians usually have lunch breaks around noon. Lunch breaks are between 30 and 60 minutes long. Office workers usually have refrigerators available to keep their food until lunch time. Those working outdoors may have lockers where they can keep their food. Canadians eat sandwiches for lunch, also salads and rice-based dishes with meat and vegetables, etc. Most people package their food in tightly sealed glass containers. Lunch rooms usually have microwave oven to warm up food brought from home, such as canned soups, etc. From time to time, bring some snacks for other co-workers and leave them in the lunchroom for everyone to share. Eating healthy will keep you healthy, so one should not neglect the quality of food eaten for lunch at work every day. Number 8. English is not perfect. Many newcomers to Canada feel awkward and uncomfortable when they first start speaking English or French. In my experience, it takes approximately 2 years before one starts feeling comfortable within English language. Before that, I had an overwhelming feeling that I was simultaneously doing translation in my head while speaking. After 2 years, this translation part faded away and one becomes more confident. Fluency in the spoken language comes with that confidence. As mentioned earlier, Canadians are very polite people and they will go out of their way not to hurt your feelings. For that reason, there is no need to fear what will happen if you don't speak perfect English in your workplace. What is important is that you do your job well. Everything else outside of that will be either ignored or forgiven. For example, if you have an office job in Canada and part of your job is to communicate through email with your customers, in that case, your correspondence must be professional and it must meet standards which are set for all other employees in the same role. If you also have a strong accent, which is invisible when you send your emails, that won't bother your employer or your co-workers too much because it does not affect your job. Try to work on improving your English for the first couple of years. Ask friends to point to your mistakes because Canadians, both in the workplace and outside of the workplace, will never correct your mistakes or point to inaccuracies in your pronunciation. If they understand what you want to say, they will behave as if you said it perfectly, which in many situations won't be even close to perfection. When you watch Canadian news, turn subtitles, closed captions, on so that you can learn English while watching TV. English proficiency comes with a lot of practice, so for that reason try to speak with native Canadian speakers as much as possible. Funny thing about speaking English as a foreign language is that no matter how good or bad you speak English, other immigrants will understand you better than the native speakers.